afternoon from San Francisco. We're live from Studio B here at the Beach Street Yacht Club in the beautiful Marina District, just about 4 blocks away from Julia's Yacht Club, the St. Francis Yacht Club, of which I'm also a proud member, as well as a few others. As Fog Machine checks in, greetings from under the Bay Bridge. So he's over on the other side of town. That, of course, is Lance Burke, whom I saw last night, Julia.
Did you?
Over at the birthday party. I was only over there for about 45 minutes. In fact, less than, because I got to come back here and prepare a bloody show. My co-host is back in the saddle again. She's here after having the day off on Tuesday. In fact, the rumor was that the reason we lost the internet was because you had your electrician go down in the garage and pulled the plug. You were so jealous of not being here with Kay Ardini, your favorite sailor in the world.
No, that's almost right, but you needed my electricity.
We needed your electricity. I like that a lot, Julia. Show number 881. We've got an AAAA from President Emeritus Alistair Murray, who says it's a soggy in Meetung. It's their Saturday morning down under. Greetings back in New York City. Peter Taylor after his South American sojourn. A little alliteration there.
Yes.
Greg Phillips on the Gold Coast of Oz. Don Lunabos up here north of the bridge in Sonoma. Larry Kennedy, hola, from the FIDI, the New York City's financial district. People are moving south, Julia.
Yes.
From New York.
Yes,
Fritz,
they are.
Fritz Mueller, that's where they're moving to, sunny Miami. I think Palm Beach is going to be the financial district of New York. Glad to see that you're better, Julia. Rick Bannero saying, howdy you all. Great to see you, Julia, back.
Oh, nice to be back.
Greetings from Minneapolis in the land of 11,842 lakes. We have a segment from Clark Chapin about the Great Lakes today that he sent a video in. Mm-hmm. Nice to have you back indeed, Julia. And greetings from a cold and wet Lexington, Kentucky. Clayton Embley, he submitted a couple to the show. And Chris Fury, also down in Melbourne. His wife is the Vice Commodore, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Of the Sandy, of the Sandringham Yacht Club. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for a few minutes on your Friday afternoon or your Saturday morning, or if you're in Europe, Friday evening. Welcome to wherever you are in the world. Let's get on to the starting line for this show number 881 as Jody Shields checks in from Wanji. Ken Sabin from the western end of Lake Erie, normally Toledo, Ohio. Happy Friday to you all. And happy, Julia.
Yes.
Be nice to Dr. Hamish Ross Day.
Oh, well, that's okay with me.
Be nice to Dr. Ross Day. What do you think that means?
Well, let's see.
Think about that. We'll get to that in a minute as Joe Holtzman checks in from a cold, windy Estes Park, Colorado. Well, it's winter.
Yes.
It's in November now in the Northern Hemisphere. Winter. Minnesota lakes measured by a minimum size of at least 10 acres. Is that right, Blake?
Oh, I'm glad to know that.
I am too. I didn't know that you had to be of a certain size in order to count. Julia?
I believe.
You can wag your finger at me. I want to thank Paul. That was a great hour and 5 minutes that we had with him on Tuesday's show before the internet crashed. And I called it, Julia, Podcastus Interruptus. It's only the third time in 880 shows that we've had the internet crash. We've had a couple of software crashes. One time the electricity went off when there was some kind of a windstorm here in the Bay Area. But that was the third time in third time in 880 shows that we lost the internet. I talked to Paul for about an hour afterwards.
He was so good. I keep forgetting how wonderful he is.
He's coming back for part 2.
Right.
2 weeks from today.
I saw that.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
So that'll be great. We got some cool guests coming up here next week. We have guests for both shows. Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote with fond memories of being with Kay Ardini. Had that teed up for the show on Tuesday. I'm going to run that today. Mm-hmm. And then some breaking news, and bravo Zulu really to the Coast Guard and to the 5 sailors who were rescued. They showed competence when their boat sank off Cape Hatteras off North Carolina yesterday. Mm-hmm. And there was dramatic United States Coast Guard rescue of the 5 sailors. They were nearly 260 some odd miles, nearly 300 miles offshore. That's a long way for a helicopter to get out and rescue them, which they did. We'll tell you how.
Oh, good.
Coaching Corner, John Emmett is at the World Sailing Conference. We have 2 reports from him, his Tuesday report, and then he submitted another one this morning, so a follow-up from his report on Tuesday, and the World Sailing Awards in the meantime sandwiched between his 2 reports, and we'll answer the question, why was there no photo of the team of the year, which is our theme of today's show?
I can think of lots of reasons.
Well, I know you can, but it's Crutonic. It just, well, what is wrong with our sport? I mean, they deserve to be team of the year. That's, of course, Emirates Team New Zealand.
Right.
Coaching Corner Part 2, as we mentioned, as the World Sailing Conference is winding down there, they have a couple more days of meetings, and then they are out of there in Dunleary in Ireland. I have another cup date. I have a one here's held over from Tuesday on the increasingly, if I do say, Crutonic and confused America's Cup, I'm sorry to say. Clark Chapin has the last leg video about a young Brit's view of our USA Great Lakes. It's hilarious, Julie. You'll really like it.
Okay.
And that is our show number 881 for
sounds
today.
good.
And we appreciate, again, all of you coming along with us. And just to revisit what we covered on Tuesday with Kayardini, with Paul Kayard, we talked about the Star Worlds, about his presidency of the Star class, all the guys, great guys in and gals in that class and with whom he has sailed. We talked about the America's Cup Hall of Fame. We were just about to get into America One racing when Paul said, and I said, you in your speech, I've heard an audio tape of your speech, and you said it was the highlight of my career. And then we started talking, Julia, about America One, which, of course, you were a supporter, you and others at St. Francis, the last of the great family club-backed friends and family type syndicates for the 2000 Cup down in Auckland, America One, of which Paul was the CEO and skipper. We fond memories because we had just had our 25th reunion of the America One, all the people who were there on the team, and we'd had it over at the club the other night, and it was a great time. I saw our Vice Commodore, soon to be Commodore Susan Rooney, last night at the YC, who was very pleasant as usual and very thoughtful, and had enjoyed seeing Paul on the show and wondered if he were coming back. She was a part of that team too, and she said to me last night, she says, "Amazing how good we looked then."
Oh, yes.
We all were a bit younger 25 years ago.
Just a bit.
Dolly DeVola's with us. G'day from Sydney. Hope you stay with us. Yeah, we're going to try. Gordon Smith is checking in from Denmark. John's maintained his strict evening training schedule with the whole World Sailing Conference in Ireland. He's drinking, Julia, a lot of Guinness. John is.
Good.
So Kayardini was, I'd asked him, Paul, he sailed in the 12-meter era, he sailed in the IACC era, he sailed in the catamaran era, and then, he's done the Cup for a long time. I said, what was your favorite boat? And he said, he was waxing on about the IACC. Yeah. And talking about the sailors sailing the boat. You could see the sailors sailing the boat. You could see sails going up and down. You were watching. You have heard it, and you've watched it also in replay, I know. Yeah. And he started to say something about, I was on a plane, and everybody's kind of moving in, I am, and everybody else, Lance Burke said the same thing. I was on the edge of my seat. What's going to come next? I was on a plane talking with somebody from the skiing world. Yes. Doesn't know a lot about our sport, except he knows that they in the skiing world have maintained their big three events, downhill and grand slalom and whatever. Yeah. And you in sailing haven't done that. And that's what your problem is. You haven't maintained the soul, the heart and soul of your sport, meaning the Star class and maybe the Finn class and so on. And Paul was just about to get into that when we got cut, and somebody said, well, maybe World Sailing has some influence on the internet. Now, it was a citywide problem, as we have since discovered. But Kayardini will be back 2 Fridays from today to talk, to finish up where he dropped off. He said, I got to go back and listen because I'm getting comments and texts too from people. How interesting is that? I don't remember what we were talking about. After we got cut off, I was just, we were all just frustrated. Right. And I called Paul, or he called me, I can't remember. We talked for an hour.
That's neat.
Carried on talking about, a lot of stuff. And we see each other, but when we do, there's always 100 other people around, and we can't sit there and just, we talked for an hour. And Paul, no surprise, has some fabulous insight about the Cup. Oh, good. About the Olympics. Yeah. About America One Racing, which is the big Olympic support effort here that he and others have kept going, even though he's been separated after he left U.S. Sailing as the Olympic director. But he likes this boat, not this one in particular, USA 61. I was with that team, and great effort by the America One Racing St. Francis Yacht Club's team in 2000. We lost to the Italians in what many people call, Julia, the best America's Cup series, whether a
Yes.
match or LVC or
Yeah.
the Challenger Selection Series or Defender Selection
It
Series.
was exciting.
It was exciting. It went the full 9 races, and we were racing the Italians.
But of course, I couldn't believe that we that we didn't win it. It was one of those things that we've gotten so used to winning it, and I was just relaxed.
You are something else. You're so positive, so Pollyanna.
Yes, I am.
Sandy Purdon, looks like SDYC, NYYC, and St. Francis will all have female Commodores in 2026. That's the case. Sandy Purdon, who is an esteemed past Commodore. We talked about you the other night, Sandy, at the America One reunion, because Jim Nicholas, who's also a member of your club down there, San Diego Yacht Club, thinking fond thoughts of you, Commodore Purdon. Nice to see you on. He's also sent us a nice contribution. He said, where have I been the last 9 years? I had no idea you were doing it.
That's nice.
And David Morris is saying, don't forget the Soling. Many of the greats sailed the boat and perfected their match racing skills. Very good point. Sailing has lost its soul, J. Frederick Bland. Alistair Murray also singing the praises of Susan Rooney, our soon-to-be Commodore at St. Francis. She's an old friend. Great to see her rise through the ranks at St. Francis Yacht Club. Put an ST in there, Alistair. SF is San Francisco Yacht Club, our friends across the bay. Actually, the more senior club here. It's St. Francis was spun off from San Francisco Yacht Club when they moved across the bay over to Marin.
So they could have lunch.
In 1926, and the gang that was here in the city working wanted to have a place to have lunch. 1920, what?
That's before the bridge.
Before the bridge, which was in mid-30s. When did they get it finished? 38?
39.
39.
It's an auspicious year.
That's the year you were born. That's how you remember this. So KR talked finally about the IACC, and he said it was the best AC class, but it was more than that, because he talked about what yacht racing means to sailors and non-sailors and how we have to bring that back. And I said, Paul, you're singing from the same hymnal here that everybody on this show. I said, there's a bit of cognitive dissonance. If you don't agree with us, they probably don't watch. They probably don't watch the show.
That's also true.
So, yeah, long story short, there is the Comcast outage map that they published. They said they were going to work on the internet. We knew that on Sunday and Monday, but it was supposed to be done by Monday afternoon, and it was still crutonic on Tuesday. In fact, they didn't get it finished until like 5 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. You see where we are approximately there where the house is. That's where the Beach Street Yacht Club is here in the Marina District, more or less, and how many thousands of outages there were all over town when Comcast Xfinity, which is their internet brand and television.
And did they get it fixed?
It's fixed as far as I can tell. I've been testing assiduously.
Yes.
Is that a Stanford word?
Of course.
Assiduously. What is that noise? This is from outside. There's some construction project.
I've had lots of funny stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a big construction project out here in the backyard. It's good, several houses over. Only the third time, Julia, in 880 shows that we actually lost the internet. And then somebody said to me, one cat over there at the yacht club, Chris Ray, said the other night, a longtime friend, a Michigan boy, he said, well, you're going to have to get some more contributions so you can get a Starlink system and have it in parallel with.
Yes.
So we can, well, we'll see about that. That's a bit much. Comcast Xfinity.
It's not so much.
Well, do you have both?
Yeah.
If we're going to have both in parallel. But I'm poor and I rely on these contributions.
We'll put a fund up.
Yeah, okay. We don't have the tin cup out right now. I just want to fill in here and fill out this story. But thank you all for the great comments. I mean, there's just dozens and dozens of comments. And by the way, that show is, I think, over 3,000 views. And it was an hour and 5 minutes. And the longer the show, the more views they get. They tend to get. But a lot of people tuned in for it. And thank you. Ed Vitrano said, great interaction with Paul Caird today. Superb show until it wasn't.
Great comment.
Phil Yeomans, thanks for the update, Tom. I watched the midweek show on delay at work and had to replay several times to make sure I didn't miss an end. Yes. And that's what San Francisco people said. They're all saying, I thought they realized they lost their internet because there's only the one big Comcast cable TV, internet supplier. There's a few others, but they're the big one. And they thought they had lost their internet and didn't realize we'd all lost our internet. So, yeah, thanks. Bring on Saturday morning. Cheers and get well to the upstairs occupant, Commodore.
Thank you.
Commodore Vatican. And then Jamie Hutchison. Great interview. What a cliffhanger. Cannot wait for part 2.
I know.
Do. And Comcast has not kept up. Yeah, they're actually, to be fair, they've been pretty darn good. I can't complain about them given what we use them for and how we use them. And Dolly DeVoe, a fantastic show. Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate your comment as well. We didn't get into what was arguably the most important topic with Paul, which was America One Racing and how that's continuing now to support American sailors in a big way toward international events, including and especially the Olympics. Their goal, together with our partners, and that's the Schoonmaker Foundation and the New York Sailing Foundation and the St. Francis Sailing Foundation, whatever that's called, Julie. Is it St. Francis Sailing Foundation? And others around the country, they, forgetting about U.S. sailing for the moment, because these private groups, including and especially America One Racing, are raising money and supporting directly our sailors. Bravo Zulu to them. America One Racing is dedicated to developing high-potential sailors and preparing them for success on the world stage. A1R provides athletes with elite coaching, performance planning, and resources to compete in top international events. A1R's commitment to youth development takes place through its foiling platform, which is new and nice, and squad training. John Emmett will like to hear that, squad training. Building on America One's 25-year legacy of advancing sailing in the U.S., A1R continues to shape the future of the sport, ensuring American sailors have the tools to reach the podium. And Julie, as you know, America One Racing is the foundation that supported the America One Syndicate down in Oz, and it's just carried on now and has a broader and cool mission statement. Thanks to Paul and the other leaders of that organization. And as I said, we'll have part 2 with Paul on Friday, 2 Fridays from today, Friday the 21st of November at our regular time of 1300 Pacific.
Great.
Standard. We're now standard, Julia.
Yes.
Now, we had a fabulous AAAA that I was going to play on Tuesday's show, apropos Paul, from Alistair Murray. And I thought, as just a kind of a wrap-up to this Paul segment, I should play that now because who knows, Alistair might have another one 2 weeks from today, apropos Paul or apropos something else. And here that is. Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. Now, we got a couple photos that precede his video.
Oh, yeah?
That he submitted. And I showed these to Paul when we did the tech check on Tuesday. He said, oh, I'm not sure where that is. And then he remembered. And Alistair will describe it in his video. But I want you to first see these 2 photos, these 2 images. And I'll play them again at the end of Alistair's segment. But take a look at this, Julia. That's not wreckage. That's not a problem. Paul thought that might even be when they were doing the not the Lambelet test, but the writing moment test. Yeah. And that's not what they were doing.
Oh, they weren't?
doing. Yeah, listen to Alistair here with his video.
Yeah.
G'day, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. This is Alistair with AAAA, Alistair's Awesome Aussie Anecdote. I'm looking forward to today's show because I think you got a great guest there in Paul Kayard. And I thought today's message from me might be just a little bit different. It might be some recollections of meeting with Paul and sort of testifying as to what a great guy he is. He might remember these couple of times we met. He was out here in Australia for the Volvo Around the World race, and I had the pleasure of meeting with Paul and inviting him down to Ronstand where he did a tour. But I also got to sail on Pirates of the Caribbean out on Port Phillip, which was as a guest. So that was a great experience and great fun. And I've sent a photograph through of the day. I remember sitting on the boat as it was heeled over to get under the Balti Bridge because the bridge was too low for the masts of the Volvo 70s, and they had to tip them over on their sides to get them to the berth here in the city of Melbourne, which was a bit of fun. So that was a great experience. But in particular, there was the first time I met Paul, and I got no idea if Paul would remember this, but it was back in 1980, and I was living in the US, working for Ronstand in those days, and we had a distributor called Weeks Howe Emerson. I'm sure Paul will remember because he did a bit of work for them. We manned a boat show stand together, and I think it was at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. We were there every day for 3 or 4 days, dealing with the public and having a good time together. My fun story of Weeks Howe Emerson actually is that their rep was a guy called Art, and I used to travel with Art, and he was 75 years old, and I think I was 24. And I said to Art, because I'd never travelled with a rep that many years senior to me, I said to Art, gee, this is fantastic, that you're still on the road at 75. Why do you do this? And he said, well, look at Weeks Howe Emerson. It was a very traditional old distributor. I think there was a Mr. Weeks and a Mr. Howe and a Mr. Emerson. And he said, just look at them, Alistair. They're in their 80s. He said, they're so old. He said, the reason I stay here is, he said, at 75, I'm only a young guy, and there's plenty of room for, there's plenty of potential for a young bloke like me to get ahead. And I just thought that was a great perspective, and he was a great man, and they were good times. So yes, Paul and I did that boat show together many, many, many years ago. Anyway, looking forward to the show. Just really, this is a bit of a brief g'day from beautiful, beautiful Meetung, my home on the lake. I'll just pan around and show you that. I love my times here. It's really great. All Fosey, welcome to come visit anytime they like. But quickly, back to Paul. Have a good show, Tom. Enjoy your very special guest. And let me say that one of the things I enjoy most about, that I admire most about Paul, is the fact that not only is he obviously a great sailor, but the fact that he puts back into the sport, I think, is so critical. Everybody should be that good. To be president of the class is a big responsibility, of the star class, and I think that's a real measure of the man, that he sees it as being important to put back in that way. Good on you, mate. And cheers to Tom, Julia, and all the Fosey. Have a great show, and I'll enjoy being listening to it and being part of it here from the other side of the world. Over. See ya. Cheers. Bye.
Over. And what a nice, gracious
Oh, yes.
guy. Great thoughts, great memories.
And he does make a point to enjoy.
Enjoy.
Yes.
So there are the photos again, and this was obviously when he was doing the, what was it, the Whitbread then? I can't remember. It was the Whitbread. It was the Volvo. It was by then the Volvo.
Yeah.
Ocean race. And then this, of course, as he said, was tipping the boat to get it under a bridge in Melbourne so they could go somewhere. Mm-hmm. Tom Pace, apropos Paul in America One Racing, Commodore Pace, he's a past Commodore of Pensacola Yacht Club and a longtime friend, saying that A1R is increasing their coaching events in Pensacola, which is now the home, of course, of American Magic, has been for some years. Mm-hmm. And American Magic is increasing, I think, their presence there. With the second this year happening in 2 weeks right out of our Melgus 24 U.S. Nationals coaching events, that is, second coaching event. Several A1R sailors such as Nevin Snow, Ian McDermott, and Gavin Ball will be racing against Harry the Third and Harry the Fourth, those being the Melgus boys. Bora Galari and the fleet of 40-plus top Melgus 24 race teams. What Paul and A1R does is phenomenal. And it is indeed. Ted Ryman saying, nice AAAA, Alistair. I won't visit you as I'd do an Emmett and never leave. Remember when John and Lily were there? And
I know.
Cut a wide swallow. I think they're going down there again.
Oh, I wouldn't blame him.
Back there why wouldn't you? You have the perpetual summer program.
Absolutely.
Summer in the Northern Hemisphere and then southern in the Southern Hemisphere. Yes. Alistair Murray with his AAAA. And maybe we'll have another one from him sometime soon as I reach over here for the fader on the channel, the video channel, and bring that down. Thanks, Alistair. Another fantastic, awesome,
absolutely
Aussie anecdote for today. Terry Hutchinson has contacted me after Tuesday's show, speaking of Pensacola and their team, American Magic, yeah, who made the decision not to participate in AC38. Terry has asked to come on the show and give us an update, and I have a feeling that is also something about Pensacola and their plans for Pensacola, which is great news. Uh-huh. And we're working on finding a date. He's traveling next week, and we have guests both Tuesday and Friday next week we'll tell you about. but we'll get Terry on here. ASAP.
AP, yes.
AP, not postponement. SAP. Okay, the breaking news from yesterday that has a good news conclusion to it. The Coast Guard rescued 5 people from a sinking sailboat off Cape Hatteras, which is the corner, the easternmost part of North Carolina. And they get a lot of hurricane touches there as the hurricanes go up the coast, of course. This from the U.S. Coast Guard, very good, succinct, clear, simple press release of yesterday afternoon. Magic Bus is the name of this catamaran. It's a 54-foot cat. I don't know what design, what the problem was. There's some talk about the sail drive failing, but who knows. They were sailing the boat from New England to the Bahamas, and it's this time of year when a lot of teams, a lot of boats, a lot of owners send their charter boats from doing the New England summer charter cruise business to the Bahamas, to wherever in the Caribbean, and that was indeed what's going on. I spoke with our foes, with John Schaefer, Captain Jack, this morning. He was offshore in a boat, delivering another boat down, and he said that they had ducked in yesterday because there was a big storm, a big low pressure system, and this boat was 200 and some odd miles, 250, 60 miles offshore when this storm came through, and that's apparently was a contributing cause.
Has to be.
Of the boat's demise. It's a family-owned yacht that charters in Staniel Cay, Bahamas, and in our summers here in New England. Take the helm and explore at your pace, their website says, or let a captain handle the details. Easy itineraries and adventure-filled days. Your unforgettable journey starts here. Well, this was the delivery crew, of whom I know the captain well. I've known him for, a long, long time, and he apparently saved everybody's bacon. He did a good job, from what I'm hearing. This is the release. The Coast Guard rescued 5 people after their vessel began taking on water 260 nautical miles offshore of Cape Hatteras on Thursday. Coast Guard Sector North Carolina Command Center watchstanders received a distress call from the crew of the sailing vessel Magic Bus. Magic Bus. Remember that song, Julia?
No, missed it.
Reporting their vessel was taking on water and all 5 people aboard were abandoning ship into their life raft. The Coast Guard now listen to this. This is an exercise. This is an operation. The Coast Guard diverted the cutter Angela McShann and launched an Air Station Elizabeth City HC-130 Hercules, helicopter crew. Oh, sorry, that's a fixed wing plane to monitor, to circle over, orbit over them until the helicopter could get out there, and an MH-60 Jayhawk helicopter. The HC-130 aircraft crew located the life raft and with all 5 people aboard established comms and confirmed everyone was stable and in good condition. Because of the long distance from shore, the Coast Guard coordinated with the aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush to provide fueling support for the helicopter crew while they were en route to the rescue. So they had to call in. That's one of the biggest aircraft carriers in our fleet in the world.
Yeah.
So they called them in and said, kind of hold wherever you are, hold. They must have been more or less between the eastern end of North Carolina, the base there in Elizabeth City, and wherever this boat had gone down. So they helicoptered out, refueled on the George H.W. Bush, and then they took off and went out to the scene and successfully recovered all 5 individuals from the life raft in good health. The helicopter crew returned to the aircraft carrier for further refueling, and then they transported the crew back to the Coast Guard Air Station Elizabeth City, which is there in North Carolina. This is a text that I found on Facebook of the owner of the boat, Brandon Flack. And he said, in the darkest hours this morning, while relaying the Mayday to the Coast Guard, and this was like at 0400 in the morning yesterday, the Coast Guard, and picturing all of them stepping up into a life raft in 40-plus knot winds and 10-foot seas, nearly 300 miles offshore and in total darkness. I got a text from his wife, that is Buster Pike, who is the captain, whom I've known since forever.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Meaning to the owner, whose kid is also on this boat. Brandon Flack's son is on the boat, was on the boat. Don't worry, Buster. My husband, Heather says, my husband, and I've known Heather longer than I've known Buster. Buster used to sail with us on our J24 in Newport back in the bloody hell.
In the day.
In the 80s. Buster is the person to have there in a situation like this. I didn't believe it at first, but somehow I knew they were going to be okay. This is the father now and the owner of the boat. A few hours later, the Coast Guard shared that the crew were in good spirits when they arrived. They had packed extra water and food for an extended rescue, in case of an extended rescue, and in classic Buster Pike fashion, they're walking through TSA right now. That's the airport security, of course, because he made sure every document was in hand before they were leaving, as they were leaving the boat. Even as his final text to me read, quote, time for us to get an evacuation plan going, unquote, less than 15 minutes before they abandoned ship and under an hour before the Magic Bus sank. And apparently they bounced around out there in that life raft for some hours. That is a Facebook post by Brandon Flack, the owner of the boat, and whose son was one of the 5 that was aboard it when it sank. 260 something. I did this myself. I don't know where it sank, but if it was due east, it's out there 260 miles off of Cape Hatteras. And, you know, that's not halfway to Bermuda, but it's a good way.
Yes.
And apparently, Julia, what they left from up here in New England, I'm not sure if from Newport or from, from the islands where they did, and they're headed down south here to the Bahamas, which is well down, not to Bermuda, but to the Bahamas.
Right.
And they, instead of going down along shore, as most of these other boats that do the summer to Caribbean this time of year in November, instead of doing that, apparently they were taking a more direct route, trying to go straight down to the Bahamas. And maybe they were trying to beat the storm because everybody knew this storm was coming. As I said, we talked to Captain Jack this morning, John Schaefer, and he is, in fact, to talk to him by FaceTime. He could have been you up in your apartment.
Wow.
And he's on Starlink, and the connection was, thank you, Mr. Musk, but it's fabulous.
Yes.
And he helped me sort some of this story out and some of the names because it's not 100% clear. But Magic Bus did sink, apparently, by all accounts, 260 nautical miles off North Carolina yesterday. Here is a screen grab from the Coast Guard's video after they put the diver down. The diver then put them all, got the 5 people in the basket, got them up in the heli, and then they pulled the diver back up. And you hear on the video, which I couldn't get a hold of, you hear the gentleman there can't remember the proper title, but who's the operations officer back there, running the basket up and down, and you hear him tell the pilots, "We have the diver back aboard." So mission accomplished. Everybody's safe. Bravo Zulu to the U.S. Coast Guard. Excuse me, what an operation! Coast Guard station to an aircraft carrier out there to rescue them, back to the aircraft carrier. Plus, they have a fixed-wing aircraft going around to maintain comms and to keep an eye on them until the heli could get out there. Bloody hell. Here they are returning back to Coast Guard Air Station Elizabeth City, which is there in North Carolina, yesterday. Bravo Zulu to all involved. Buster Pike for keeping the kids. And these are kids. Wait till you see the picture, Julia.
Yeah.
There they are. That's Buster on the left, as I said, whom I've known for years.
Yeah.
40 years, I guess. And then Evan Spalding, who is a graduate of Webb Institute. That's that very high-end naval architecture school.
Yes.
That our friends Bill Cook and a number of others went to. Britt Ward, who's a Fozy, been on this show. So Evan Spalding there, the second from the left. Dylan Flack is the son of the owner. Zach Dorr, another Webby. And Sam Greiska, who went to Tabor Academy and is a sailor from Tabor Academy. That much I was able to find out this morning. But thank you, Captain Jack, John Schaefer, who helped me put fill in the blanks in this story. They're all safe and sound.
It's
and thanks to the bloody Coast Guard.
Yes.
You've got the Royal Naval Lifeboat Institute in the UK, and you've got Coast Guards in other countries, but we all owe our deep debt of gratitude to
Yes.
the Coast Guard and these sorts of people, Julia. Fabulous stuff. What are the comments here? Maybe we'll get Captain Jack on to do a little bit of an analysis. But Steve Atkins, Commodore Atkins, thanks for your several comments, Steve, in the last 24 hours. Commodore Atkins, past Commodore of the Madison Beach Club in Connecticut, Bravo Zulu Coast Guard, and, well, good point, U.S. Navy. Blake saying that very cool that the Coast Guard and the Navy carrier work together. Well, that's, I think, standard SOP, standard operation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did stop both directions, Steve. And that's an expensive gas station. J. Frederick Bland, of course, went to
Yes.
our Naval Academy, graduated and was a submariner.
Mm-hmm.
Blake saying that George H.W. Bush isn't only one of the biggest, it's the newest and biggest nuclear carrier in the U.S. Navy.
Wow.
David James saying the Coast Guard's life-saving motto, you have to go out, but you don't have to come back. Well done, Captain Pike. Yeah, Buster Pike is a hell of a good guy. And again, he's married to a gal whose family I also knew. I was talking to Karen about this, how it is we know all the parents, but we know the parents better than the kids because we're old.
Yeah.
We're bloody old, Julia.
I don't know how that happened.
I don't either. But Steve is telling us, Commodore Atkins saying that they departed from Stonington, which is in the southeast corner of Connecticut, in the home of Rod Johnstone, the designer of the J-boats. So the original designer, Stonington, Connecticut, a beautiful town. And Blake's trying to remember if Buster was on board my J-24 when a bunch of us USYRU staff did an evening race together. Could have been Billy Shoemaker. Yep, Billy sailed with us, as did John Brown III, Captain John Nicholas Brown's son and the grandson of the Commodore John Nicholas Brown in the Brown Mansion, which is now New York Yacht Club Harbor Court.
Yes.
That captain, that Commodore, and Grandma Brown's grandson sailed with us. In fact, that's a long story. I've told that story before.
Yeah.
We don't need to go back and relive old
It's a
story.
good one, though.
Yep, Hank Stewart agreeing. Thumbs up to the Coast Guard and the Navy. Clark correcting Blake and saying no, or at least modifying. He said the Gerald Ford. That's what I thought, Clark. The Gerald Ford, of course, Gerald being a Michigan boy, Clark would know that. Gerald Ford, the president, late great President Ford, played football at Michigan.
Oh, yes.
And
How
he
could I
he
forget?
stumbled around a bit, and he was not 100% when he was in the office of the presidency, having been put there by Nixon when Nixon resigned. And they all have said that it was because he was back in the leather helmet days playing. He was a center for the University of Michigan football, so he got
Wow.
bounced around, bashed around a bit. He also, Gerald Ford, is celebrated in Ann Arbor and in collegiate football because Michigan was playing some team somewhere who declined to play Michigan if one of their black players that Michigan had was an early university with black players on their football team. And Ford said, if the black kid doesn't play, I don't play. That's that's the, I don't know if that's apocryphal or not, but
I've heard this story before.
it's good. I hope the sinking wasn't the result of something stupid. Coast Guard and Navy risk their lives for morons at times. Good point, Fritz Mueller. I hope it wasn't. I hope it was well and truly just a bloody accident and not bad maintenance or anything like that. So, okay, well, it's all well that ends well, apparently, and Bravo Zulu to all involved for saving the lives of these 5 people and for themselves saving their own lives. Good stuff. At Wednesday's Sailing World Gala, ETNZ was awarded Team of the Year, so where's the photo? It's the first time I've ever done a black cover photo, promo photo, for this show in 880 shows. No sailing picture, no people pictures, just this black screen because we didn't have a picture. But Julia,
Sir.
what are we celebrating today?
Well, I don't know. What's the date today?
Look at the scales. Look at the handshake.
Yes.
It's the 7th of November. You'd never get it from the date. It is, believe it or not, and this is a big holiday, apparently, or a big, one of these national days. And there's also an international day, although it's not today. Love Your Lawyer Day.
Oh, yes.
Julia, even Shakespeare didn't like the lawyers, right?
Yeah.
Clark Chapin, is it your birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, it was L.B. Lyndon Baines Johnson, another president, who said Gerald Ford had played too many games without his helmet.
Oh.
when I started playing hockey as a kid in the 50 or give or take 1960, we had leather helmets too that didn't do anything except
No.
they didn't do a damn thing. They had some kind of felt padding inside of it, and there was a little leather thing on the outside on your forehead, and a little leather thing on the back, and some kind of straps, and it was basically useless, but it looked good. It looked like a football helmet. Oh gosh, love your lawyer day, Julia, and that's why I said this is dedicated to Hamish Ross.
Uh-huh.
The earliest people who could be described as lawyers were probably the orators of ancient Athens. The most noted historical first text of law is credited to the Babylonian king Hammurabi of Mesopotamia. Dating, didn't I pronounce that right? Hammurabi.
Yeah.
Hammurabi. Did I say by? Hammurabi?
Yeah.
Well, rabbi, I'm thinking about rabbis. And
Okay. Oh,
Hammurabi of Mesopotamia, dating back to the 18th century BC.
Wow.
I didn't even know we had people around that early. Consisting of 282 laws, the Hammurabi Code described a variety of everyday situations, from punishments to be meted out to criminal offenders to the wages to be paid for services rendered to one another. Initially, lawyers were not allowed to charge any fees, which made earning a living from the law tough. The Roman system allowed for charging fees. To change this, today modern codes of law are far more involved, and the lawyers are far more expensive and convoluted than historical ones, covering every aspect of living within the human society. And of course, as you all know, I select these things. We have a wide range of things from which we can select for these. What are we celebrating today and this day in history? And every now and then we put something in that may have some current or soon to be current significance.
Yes.
Julia?
Yes.
And not for us here at the Beach Street Yacht Club.
Yes.
Love Your Lawyer Day, November 7th, 2025. It's the first Friday of the month of November. And we dedicate this show and this day to our super fuzzy Dr. Hamish Ross. I got some legal advice from Hamish this morning, or some context about because I now have the court decision from the performance sailcraft, and I understand why it's in New Zealand, why it was in a New Zealand court when it involved a Texan company.
Oh, yeah.
The Laser, the Ilka class, and an Australian builder. Why did it end up in New Zealand? Well, there was a company involved that originally sold the company to the Australian PSA, and when that happened, they put a clause in the contract saying that any disputes will be resolved in New Zealand. So that's why it ended up in New Zealand court, and we've already covered what the court decided. But they put it out, and they enjoined Ilka Laser Class from flicking that company. Hamish gave me a full rundown. I'm not going to bore you all with it today, but be nice to Hamish today because he is one of the good guys.
He is.
He doesn't always give great advice, but he usually does.
He doesn't always give the advice you agree with.
Well, that's true, but it's who won, Julia, when he gave the advice that I didn't agree with.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm okay. Let's don't do that. So let's start, because this is John Emmett's report from Tuesday. And this week, World Sailing AGM, annual general meeting, has been going on up in Dunleary in Ireland all week. And this was John's initial report from Tuesday for Tuesday's show, which will run now, and then we'll run his report from Dunleary today, later on here after the awards. John Emmett, the Coaching Corner with Super Fuzzy John Emmett from Great Britain.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. Well, made it here in sunny Ireland, or not so sunny Ireland, for the World Sailing Conference. And yeah, it's been a bit of a journey. The last time I believe the conference was here is 2012, when Lily won World Sailor of the Year. And it's just an opportunity to see so many different influential people in sailing, and hopefully to facilitate some real change to the sport. I actually think a lot of the important decisions making, or at least the thought processes, is going to be done behind the scene over cups of coffee, or dare say it, a couple of pints of Guinness. But it's really important to bring everyone together to have this opportunity. And I think the last time was here was 2012. It just shows how time flies when you're having fun. The big focus for me is, of course, the media. Because that's how we're going to increase engagement and participation, but also that's very much part of the IOC mandate, and we'll see how that all shapes out. But also para, because it's one of the parts of the sport, unfortunately, which is the least well publicised, and that's going to be a really important part of increasing engagement. But yeah, going to be here for about 5 days. I've also already seen Andrew Minervin, Dan Jaspers, and a few other people within seconds of being here. And I think it's really important to take this time just to see what's going on. The big thing, which is a little bit of a worry, is we have over 400 delegates, I guess, and that's not including partners and so on. And the actual big dinner itself is only 250 places, so it's going to be interesting to see who gets let in for there. Managed to meet up with Danny, and we'll hopefully meet up with Jazz as well, both of which are up for categories of World Sailor of World Sailor of the Year and Team of the Year. I should double check that. So if you get a chance, please do support them. And it's really nice. There's 2 para sailors who are not actually in competition with each other. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And anything people want to say, speak now, if ever hold your peace. Comments in the section, like, share, you know the drill. Sail fast, sail safe, and have fun.
Okay, so that was at the beginning of the week in Dunleary, and we're going to have a report from this morning that John issued, so we'll do his quick outro and thank him again. John Emmett Sailing, get to the front of the fleet, because we've been, Julia, as you know, we've seen in the FOSI thread, we have a thread of the Super FOSI, the people who are regulars on the show, who are contributors to the show. And we've got a WhatsApp thing. And as John said, McIrvin, Pindar, any number of people are up there and commenting and helping each other out and talking to each other, comparing notes, sharing notes, and so on, which I think is a very helpful and powerful thing for delegates from across the board. Alistair, who's very experienced in this business, is also, even though he's not there, is chiming in, asking questions, seeing what's going on as the past president of Australian Sailing. So it's interesting to see in Dunleary the politics, and I've was part of that world intensively for 25, almost 30 years, and I'm glad to be out of it now. There is a look at Dunleary. I don't think that's a current shot, but that is where they are holding the world meeting of World Sailing, the AGM, and the awards dinner was Wednesday night, not last night, the night before. And I don't know why they only had 250 seats, because this is always that. It used to be on Tuesday nights, and sometimes it was on Thursday, but it's middle of the week, and it's a big deal. It's black tie.
Yeah.
And it's where they hand out the Rolex Yachtsman of the Year, Rolex Yachtswoman of the Year, the Bepi Croce Award, which is the big contribution to the sport, the service award. And now they've got a thing called the Team of the Year.
Yes.
And it's a big deal. Everybody wants to go. It's not, it's not free. So you got to come up with the money. But they only had 250 slots, and John's wife had a ticket. And then John also had a ticket, but they rescinded it. They took it back, said, well, you can't go. We don't have enough, and we have some other VIPs we got to let in. I'm not kidding. At this World Sailor of the Year Awards dinner, the big gala.
Yeah.
Well, long story short, after a year of great feats of sailing, endurance, and determination on the water, sailing's highest achievers were honored at this gala, at the ceremony, at the Royal St. George Yacht Club in Dunleary, in Ireland, of course. Both winners of the 2025 Rolex World Sailor of the Year Awards triumphed in the Vendée Globe, and we covered them extensively. The Rolex Yachtsman of the Year, or Sailor of the Year male, I don't know why they would call him Yachtsman. The men's award was presented to France's Charlie Delan, the winning skipper on board Massif Santé Providence, and Switzerland's Justine Metreau, the fastest woman to take in the round-the-world yacht race, finishing 8th overall on board Teamwork-Team SNEF. Teamwork, in German, what a dash is called? A Bindestrich.
Teamwork, makes sense.
Bindestrich Team, SNEF, S-N-E-F, won the women's award. Now, you would think, Julia, see this nice picture
of
the gentleman?
Yes.
of Charlie Deland, you would think that the World Sailing would have put out a similar picture
Mm-hmm.
for Metro, right?
Yeah.
For Justine. Why wouldn't they? Well, they didn't. And everybody is scratching their heads. What's wrong with the World Sailing's PR department? Why didn't they get an equally nice picture of her and put it out?
Yes.
Because they didn't. So guys like Richard Gladwell and even Magnus the Magnificent for his Rule 69 blog, which he covered this
Mm-hmm.
extensively, had to resort to pictures like this for Justine, which are pictures from the race, the end of the race, or during the race, even. This is from the end. That's Justine Metro of Suiza, Switzerland, became the fastest female to take part in the Vendée Globe, finishing 8th and setting a record for the fastest single-handed, nonstop monohull circumnavigation by a woman with a time of 76 days, 1 hour, and 36 minutes. Bravo, Zulu.
Yes, indeed.
But why isn't there a nice picture of her like this? She's there. John Emmett sat with her husband at the dinner. John did ultimately get in. We'll tell you how.
Yeah, but they didn't have a seat for him.
Well, she was there. I didn't have a seat for John, but he got in. And
Yeah.
we'll tell you how. It was another Fozy
Yeah.
got him in. But there she is nonetheless. We've taken some of these great photos of her. There's plenty of them. And Bravo Zulu, too, both. I think they were both well-deserving as Yachtsman and Yachtswoman of the Year. You could argue about Kayard. A lot of us thought he should have gotten it based on not only his contribution to the sport, but having now won the Star Worlds twice, 7 years apart, was it? 37 years apart?
Yep.
So, but the nominations, that was done before Kayard won that. These guys had that in motion. Maybe he'll get it next year, but it's too bad because they're doing this year and not next. They won't do this year next year. You know what I mean? Now, here is another well-deserved award, and I don't know the gentleman well, but I've known him forever. Bernard Benoit, and I've been on a couple juries with him, has been one of World Sailing's most experienced and respected leaders in the field of race officiating and governance. As chair of the Racing Rules Committee, he has played a pivotal role in the formulation, interpretation, and global implementation of the rules, ensuring that the sport remains fair, transparent, and consistent across all disciplines and continents. His leadership, all this prose that they wrote, they could have gotten a picture of Justine Metro, I would have thought. His leadership has strengthened collaboration between World Sailing's technical and governance bodies, linking the work of judges, umpires, and event organizers with policy and rule development. In addition to his committee responsibilities, he regularly serves as chairman or as a member of international juries at major events, including the Olympics, the Volvo Ocean Race, setting high standards for integrity and professionalism among race officials. Bravo Zulu, he did all that and more. As I said, I've known him for 40 years,
Yes.
been on juries with him, and is just suffered, sadly, a bad stroke, a pretty severe stroke. So that's limited, if not ended, his rules career. And he's gotten the Beppe Croce Trophy for service to the sport. And Bravo Zulu.
Absolutely.
Deservedly so. Now, the other big award, Julia, is the Team of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And as probably most of you now know, that is what was issued. One little 3-sentence. Okay, it's 3 sentences. Emirates Team New Zealand won the 37th. This is from the World Sailing press release. Won the 37th America's Cup in Barcelona in October 2024. What? 2025. Making history with the team's third win. Oh, sorry, it wasn't 2020. I beg your pardon. They were talking about the win in the Cup. Mm-hmm. Making history with the team's third win in succession. Bravo Zulu. The team won the first 4 races in the AC match, adding another 3 to win the match 7-2 and take the trophy. After, of course, the Brits won a couple. This success is down to the skill of the sailing team as well, the skill and innovation of the technical team in developing the AC38 for a third campaign. So not only was there no picture of Justine Metro, Julia,
Mm-hmm.
but there was no picture of Team New Zealand, and worse than that, there was nobody
Of
there
the team.
to represent the team at this big deal. This is a big deal. Why?
Because the person who had planned it, asked to do it, had never been one.
I doubt that. Here's the picture that Magnus the Magnificent used in his Rule 69 blog. Nice picture from Barcelona And he wrote, and remember, he works for them.
Yeah.
He works for the Defender. He works for Grant Dalton, or Grant Dalton's PR person. In the team category, this is his writing on Thursday in his Rule 69 blog. In the team category, Emirates Team New Zealand won for achieving their three-peat in the America's Cup. And yes, that's arguably the absolutely right outcome. Yet the news landed with an audible, I think he meant thud,
Well,
not thump,
yeah.
an audible thud amongst the delegates, setting a tone that never really improved thereafter.
Ah.
That's Magnus the Magnificent writing that about his boss and about the team and about the occasion. He went on to say, World Sailing are pretty tone deaf to consensus. Now he's criticizing World Sailing, and maybe properly so, and couldn't catch a zeitgeist if, the German word Zeitgeist, pronounced the second vowel, if it were hooked on the end of a fishing rod. In the audience, having just returned from making a fabulous, inspiring speech on stage was Donnie Pich, the blind sailor from Catalonia, who by a mile was the people's pick, judging by both the audience reaction and that of fellow nominees, the runners-up, who were the head case J24 team, who had traveled to Ireland full of hope of winning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as Shirley Robertson, who was one of the presenters, confirmed the winner, the ceremony moved on swiftly with no acceptance video, no attendance from ETNZ. Magnus saying that's not their style, instead putting out the classiest of press releases overnight saying, in receiving the award, they didn't say we weren't there to receive the award, but in receiving the award, Emirates Team New Zealand also paid tribute to the other nominees, acknowledging the depth of talent and passion across the sport. In particular, the team extended warm praise, probably was written by Magnus, to Danny A. Pish, the inspirational blind sailor from Yes We Sail, who captured global admiration for his courage and determination for circumnavigating the Isle of Wight earlier this year. As you all know, we covered that on this show. Emirates Team New Zealand proudly supported Donnie during the America's Cup campaign in Barcelona, and continues to champion inclusivity and accessibility in sailing. That is MTM, aka Magnus Wheatley, writing in his Rule 69 blog yesterday. And there is a picture of Donnie Pish going out around the Needles in that Catalonian yacht with no rudder, and he got around the Isle of Wight in one piece. Bravo Zulu to him. And why was there no representative there of ETNZ? Some combination of World Sailing being cretonic and not advising people, trying to surprise them like this is the Academy Awards and everybody's going to be there anyway, right? Because we're so important, everybody's going to come to Ireland and sit there to find out whether or not they have won this award. I mean, this is not the Academy Awards. This is not the Oscars. You got to let people know, hey, you better have somebody here. Or they just said, you know what, our watch sponsor is Omega. Rolex is the sponsor of World Sailing and of not that award in particular, but the Yachtsman and Yachtswoman of the Year awards. Or because there's been a lot of tension between World Sailing and Mr. Dalton over the whole America's Cup deal and the rights fee and how much they pay to World Sailing. I did the original deal for us to pay a fee to World Sailing so that World Sailing will leave us alone, let us do our own rules, pick our own juries and all that sort of stuff. If that had been the Australian Sailing Awards, Alistair Murray says, we would contact the winner, advising them in total confidence that they had won and asking them to record an acceptance speech. And U.S. Sailing, Julia, did that as well when Cole Brower won Yachtswoman of the Year this year. It was awarded in February down in San Diego. I attended that session. And she's out in the middle of the Pacific or somewhere. I don't remember where the hell she was, but she recorded in fact, she was live. She came on live.
Yeah, from her boat.
From her boat. She
was sailing with the lady she sold her boat to.
I think that's correct. I think you're absolutely right. So, Julia, people, they wonder why our sport is mucked up. And here's a perfect opportunity to salute Team New Zealand, for TNZ to have some great ink with Donnie Peace and so on, the others. And they're not there. And for Gordon Smith to say, well, they didn't know a thing about it, that is utter BS, Gordon. You know full well they knew about it. They knew they had a very good chance of winning it. And they should have called up our former Fozy, Julie Aarons in Cleveland, and say, Julia, we'll buy you a ticket, fly over there and represent us. There are lots of other Kiwis there.
Yes.
The New Zealand Yachting Federation, or whatever they're called now, New Zealand Yacht, I don't know what they're called. There's people from New Zealand there. They could have tapped somebody. Hey, if we win this thing, would you go up and accept on our behalf and tell them we're very sorry, but we're training here or there? What,
Yeah.
As Gordon Smith is saying, Cole did it in style. She was reclined on some cushions. Yes, she was. You need to have some consideration for the families to witness such an important event.
That's
Exactly right. Baton Rouge,
Yeah.
Patten Kennan, and Charleston. It's sailing season in New Zealand. Why miss time on the water for a Guinness and Dunleary? That's Lance Burke. I don't know. It's not correct. Jody Shields, I'm not surprised that World Sailing have their, there's the drinking word, I guess,
Yes.
testicles well and truly jammed in a vice over this. They, World Sailing, are too Bob Watch trying to be. What's that mean? A classy timepiece. Not quite sure what that means. Jody. Yeah, well, I'm sure ETNZ did not know in advance, Gordon. I don't think any of the winners knew in advance. But, if you're in the running and you've just won the America's Cup 3 times and you know your odds on, maybe not odds on favorite, but you got a very good chance of winning the thing, you'd have it. And if you can't reasonably be there, you'd have it teed up somehow to have somebody covering for you.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not World Sailing ought to do what Alistair says, which is to advise people in confidence ahead of time, that's what I would do. I agree with Alistair.
Mm-hmm.
But bloody hell, people, why can't we get our sport together? Why can't we get something as simple as an awards at the World Sailing Conference? Why can't we make it happen? Oh, I see. He's talking about bobs and shillings. A little money, 2 pennies. Okay. Justine is 135 nautical miles from the finish line in the Transat Cafe L'Or right now, Chris Exley is saying. Is that right? So she wasn't there. I thought John Emmett told me this morning she was there. Maybe that's why there's no picture of Justine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that at least makes sense. Margarita Marshall, GD. Grant Dalton does not care. By the way, Margarita Marshall and her husband, John.
Yes.
John K. Marshall.
Right.
Whose nephew is on here watching often. John and Margarita are our guests next Friday.
Oh, good.
Next Friday. We've got John Emmett this coming Tuesday with Donnie Peace and with Jazz Turner talking about all of this stuff that we've been talking about, the Paralympics and so on.
Right.
And their amazing achievements this year, the two of them. They're coming on live. And the next Friday, John Marshall and Margarita Bottini Marshall, again, from whom I've known for years, they're coming on to talk about the Cup. Well, good point from Magnus. He could have, Magnus, Alistair Murray, good point. Magnus, did he say that up above and I missed it? Yeah, I would have accepted it. Magnus the Magnificent, who's there and who's been covering the America's Cup, everybody knows is part of the Defender operation and team. He could have gone up and said nice things.
Yes.
Exactly. It's not rocket surgery. Clark Chapin. Give Matt Bounds our regards, Clark, when you see him.
Yeah.
He's going to be on with us, Danny Peace, and also we're going to have Jazz Turner on next Tuesday with John Emmett. Speaking of John Emmett, how did he get into the dinner?
Put his socks on.
Super Fozy and Mr. Doctor, the humanist, Andrew McIrvin, gave him his wristband. And that's how he got in. And Andrew sat outside. Or maybe, I don't know if he was outside. He may be going out for a nice dinner somewhere. So John got to go in with his wife. And John, Andrew's been to lots of these things. And I'm not sure John's been to that many. But Andrew very kindly gave his, isn't that nice?
It is.
His wristband. John got his tux sorted out. And he said he had a ball. He enjoyed. I talked to him this morning, and he enjoyed every minute of it.
McIrvin.
No, John Emmett, because he got into the dinner.
Oh yeah,
he enjoyed every minute of it. And here is a video with Danny Peace and with the Yachtsman of the Year and with Jazz Turner. Watch this. Taken by John after the occasion. Charlie Deland there in the brown tie. Jazz Turner in her wheelchair.
Could you give her a hug?
That sounds like Lily's voice staging this. Okay, so you get the idea.
Yes.
Mr. Doctor, who, by the way, we should probably give him a Bravo Zulu too, Julia, because he has been elected president of the Offshore Racing Council.
Yes.
And that's an important offshore racing. Is that it? Or he's president of IRC, one or the other. But it's a big deal. He's also, Andrew McIrvin has also gotten the notice of race out. He chairs the steering committee again for next year's Admirals Cup. And just this week, the notice of race and the plans and preparations have all come out for next year's Admirals Cup, which he's already been on the show and tipped us off about.
Right.
And he is continuing, even though he's no longer the Secretary General of the International Maxi Association, probably happy to be out of that. He's got arguably an even more important role now in our beloved sport. So bravo to our Super Fozy, Andrew McIrvin. And what a nice gesture to let John go in there and put his tie in. He had a blast. He said he had an absolute ball meeting all these people.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
So nice stuff.
That is super.
Yeah, IRC. He is the new president of the Rating Rule IRC. Gordon Smith, reminding us that Jazz Turner, who will again be with us live next Tuesday with John and with Danny Peace, she was born on the air side, not on the land side, but on the air side of Gatwick Airport. So she's technically a lady of the world, having been born in international space. Here's another photo I thought you'd enjoy. Speaking of Jazz Turner, who will be with us. And for those of you who don't remember, we haven't covered her extensively. She's a Paralympic sailor and wheelchair user who competes in the Hansa 303 and the RS Venture Connect SCS classes. In 2025, she created Project Fear, in which she set out to circumnavigate the British Isles, not the Isle of Wight, the British Isles and Ireland solo and unsupported on the 2nd of June this year, and succeeded in less than a month on the 30th of June.
Amazing.
So she's also terrific. And John has gotten to know them well, is hugely supportive of Paralympics and of diversity and inclusion. So bravo, Zulu.
Yeah, David, James, and Blake.
Oh, look at that. Is that true? It's worth noting that the World Sailing Awards were not wheelchair accessible. BC Jazz Turner, Chris Exley is saying, yes, Chris, indeed. And she will be our guest, as I've said now 3 times, with Danny Peace and John in a bit of a panel discussion next Tuesday on what we're all focusing on, Oman. By the way, the turnout, John tells me this morning in Oman for this, what do they call it, the inclusivity event. But for people who are physically challenged, that event has got a pretty good turnout.
Oh, good.
But they don't have enough hotel rooms that are wheelchair accessible.
Oh.
A real heroine, Ted Ryman is saying.
Yeah.
Alistair Murray, she's an amazing, wonderful, inspirational young woman. Bravo Zulu. She got in somehow I'm sure they would have carried her. John would have gotten any number of people together to carry her in if that was necessary.
Yeah.
Now, having put all that behind us now, here is John's report from Dunleary from this morning.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. First of all, bravo Zulu to Andrew McIrvin. Going to try very hard not to get run over here. Andrew very kindly, I think possibly, I don't know if I've got this right, with a bit of help from Rolex, managed to get me into the World Sailing Conference annual awards. And I mean, it was actually really good fun night. I just wish I'd taken a few more photos whilst in the trophy room. And yeah, I mean, these conferences, it's a who's who of sailing. And I've just met so many people. Actually, people like Andrew, who I've electronically known them for a very, very long time, but I was struggling to think if we ever met in person, and I decided we probably hadn't. So I definitely owe Andrew a Guinness. But this networking opportunity is so important, and it made me realise just the value of face-to-face communication. And I think possibly 5 days here isn't really enough. But we've been, fully booked for dinners every night, and I actually think I might not be able to record in the National Yacht Club because these are very prestigious old sailing clubs. So my understanding, and I should always check this, is the Royal Irish Club is the first purpose-built yacht club anywhere in the world, built very similar time to St George. So I think possibly the foundations of the Royal Irish were their first purpose-built yacht club, and maybe St George was finished slightly earlier. But yeah, at the World Sailing Conference it was described as cosy, and I think that's the understatement of the year. And I also think a lot of the best conversations were probably had after quite a few Guinnesses. But I do try and practice what I preach as much as possible. And I didn't want to leave it to having a dinner to try and take a video for Tom and never actually find out, which we weren't allowed to do that, because I did record did intend to record some of these reels, because I think the tradition and the heritage of all these sailing clubs is so important, and you only have to look at all the trophies on the wall and the photographs just to know that history. And it's such an important part of our sport, and I think just walking around here and you see how much time people have put in to our beloved sport, it makes a huge difference. And the awards for me are a very special thing, and as you know, I've been trying increasingly to help out the para, so really looking forward to having Danny and Jazz on the show. I mean, as I say, meeting people electronically never does it justice. I mean, they both have a wicked sense of humour, and I'm actually in the process of recording this, editing the interviews I did with them. So if you haven't done so already, please do look at those interviews. I mean, I always think these people could talk to them for, 20 minutes, no problem. So cutting them down to make small interviews, because unfortunately, for whatever reason, that seems to be people's attention span now. It's really difficult. And I think in terms of selling the sport and the format, we have to be looking at telling the stories of the heroes rather than fundamentally changing the sport. I think evolution is needed. We certainly need to, show the IOC we're willing to change and doing some changes, but we need to be very careful we don't throw the baby out with bath water, and therefore it's evolution rather than revolution. And for para, just getting the foot in the door and getting back in the Paralympics would be amazing. I mean, of course, we'd love to have 100 athletes, but actually 60 athletes would be infinitely better than no athletes at all. And even if we get back in the Paralympics, we do need to think, because sometimes a good thing can cause problems, because all the countries will be wanting to support their para athletes, and there'll be a real danger that the funding went to para, as in for the Paralympics, and you lost some of that inclusion type funding, just as it's really important with sailing programmes to have protective pots of money for elite sailing and for youth sailing and grassroots sailing, so everybody gets looked after and it's fully inclusive. And having spent a bit of time with the para athletes, it's actually hard to sort of understand what it's like to metaphorically be in their shoes until you go around and look at the accessibility that they face, or the difficulties with accessibility they face. And I think every accessible room in both the Oman hotels has gone. I mean, it's a nice problem to have. They went from a low entry to now struggling to find all the necessary accommodation. But these meetings, they're so important, and I think we're going to look back at 2025 as an absolutely pivotal year, and hopefully in the background I've done my bit to help. And on that note, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun.
You see in the comment, Alistair Murray says the 250 VIPs at the dinner are telling everyone they got to meet John Emmett. Thank you, Gordon Smith. Thank you, Clark Chapin, for posting that link to the YouTube link to the interview that John did with Jazz Turner. Mm-hmm. And it is a very, I mean, she's like Cole.
Yeah.
Brower. She's just got a lot of
Yeah, neat.
humor,
Yeah,
twinkle in the eye. She's a lot of fun and very smart and very dedicated, yada, yada. There's John Schaefer. Captain Jack is checking in off the Georgia coast now. Excuse me, Captain Jack, he's headed south, and as I said, I spoke with him this morning. He helped sort out some of the details of that sinking of Magic Bus. And then a lot of you have commented about John, the curvature of the Earth there.
Yeah, I know.
With the fisheye lens. I assume that was Lily shooting that. I'm not quite sure why they used that lens, but they did. And the important thing is not the video, it is the audio, Julia.
Yes.
You have good audio, people will listen and watch a podcast. If you have bad audio and good video, they turn it off immediately, and I don't blame them. Is this what my vision is like after too much Irish hospitality, Lordy? It's hardcore. Okay, well, that's John Emmett's second report for today. Thanks, John. And again, we're all pointing toward Brisbane 2032 with the strong support of the Aussies, pushing for the Paralympic sailing to be re-included in the Paralympic Games as a demonstration event in Brisbane, because we're not going to get there as a regular event, at least not yet. But if we have a good showing in Oman, if we keep the pressure on the IPC, the International Paralympic Committee, and we have a good effort politically in the meantime, we'll get maybe we'll get Paralympic sailing back into the Paralympic Games, Julia. Okay, you've heard all that now about the awards and about Dunleary and the World Sailing Conference. I'll tell you one more thing is that in talking with John this morning, he was in there's two, I don't know if this is fair to say, there's the council and there's the executive board that more or less rubber stamp, but not always, the final decisions. But you've got the equipment committee, which deals with the class rules of all the various classes, including and especially the Olympic classes.
Yeah.
You've got the events committee, which is dealing with the Olympics and the Youth Worlds and the other major events that World Sailing puts on. And I was for years on that committee and vice chairman of it, actually for 12 years, I think. And then you have the rules committee, and under them, the judges and the umpires. So those three big committees, and the equipment committee is meeting today. John's been sitting in the meeting, or was meeting. It's now late over there now, but he's been sitting in the back of the hall, as I'm sure have others. Mm-hmm. And apropos the laser, specifically to the laser, John thinks they're going the way of the fin, meaning not to get kicked out of the Olympics, but he thinks that the equipment committee is going to say, let's spec the laser. Here are the dimensions. Mm-hmm. We sign up builders, and the builders have to build boats that meet the dimensions, and the class is going to be the class, like the fin class, like the star class. That's good news.
Yes.
I hope that's what they're doing, and apparently they realize they've got a real mess on their hands in the laser class. And if they go in that direction and do that, then that'll be great.
Yeah. Rather than Ilka.
Push your mic up, would you, in front of your mouth? Speaking of audio, thank you.
Speaking of volume, Ilka isn't as melodious as the lasers.
Well, I know, but they've been having that fight,
I know, but
so you got to call it Ilka if you're being proper, but all the rest of us still call it the laser. Yeah, you say tomato, I say tomato. It doesn't matter, Julia.
I know.
Doesn't matter. Okay, the America's Cup. This was my one here's that I promised from Tuesday, AC38 Cup date, and this is becoming a clown show, more so than even we thought. And I was going to read you the editorial in Sailing Anarchy. I was going to read you other editorials that are showing up across the sport, because this group, these four people, have made a complete and utter balls up of the Cup. Here is the latest one here's. Uh-huh. I've heard it from multiple sources. The so-called salary cap, the 75 million, I don't know if it's euro, I think it's euros, dollars, whatever the hell it is. Not salary cap, the budget cap that Mr. Dalton has written into and Mr. Serben has agreed to in the protocol.
Yeah.
Well, the Italians, the only team that really is situated and sorted as a challenger, Sir Ben doesn't yet have a boat, apparently, doesn't have money yet, although it's promised, and hopefully he'll get there. Probably will. But the Italians, Luna Rossa, have told, one hears from multiple sources, in good sources, inside, close in,
Yeah.
that Max Serena, who's the head of that operation, has told them, we're not going to comply with the $75 million. We've already committed more than that. We had committed to more than that as soon as the last cup was over.
Yes.
So to hell with your $75 million budget cap.
Yeah.
And now Grant's going around saying, well, we'll take this out of that. You don't have to count this. You don't have to count that. Maybe you can do, for example, you do a personal services agreement with your skipper and you don't have to count their skippers. There's two of them now, helmsmen. You don't have to count those in your budget cap. I don't know what's going on. But that now and I know there's a big discussion. They're still trying to arm twist Ernesto. They're trying to arm twist Doug DeVos and get American Magic back in. They're still, because they're desperate. They need teams, and they don't have teams. And they promised Naples teams.
Yeah.
It's a clown show. The thing we said here on this show 4 weeks ago, my 6-point prescription is still the way to go. And I think you'll hear similar from, and I don't know for sure, but I think you'll hear similar from Caird when he comes back in 2 weeks' time. And I think you'll hear similar next Friday from John Marshall and Margarita Bottini, because they are not amused either. This is absolutely, utterly bonkers what's going on. They're ruining the cup. Meanwhile, SailGP goes from strength to strength. Don't try to make the America's Cup into SailGP. Leave it the cup. Have it be rare every 3 or 4 years. Read the deed. Mind the deed. Comply with the deed of gift. You're not going to amend it. You're not. The courts aren't going to let you amend it. So use the deed.
Yeah.
Run the cup in accordance with the deed. And this trustee has better get their act together. This trustee, they're not going to, because they've just delegated it all illegally under the deed of gift and New York law to Mr. Dalton. And they are, once again, the worst trustee in the history, not just the modern history, in the history of the cup.
If they have released their sort of obligation to that cup, who inherits it?
Well, if the club were to go bankrupt, if they wanted to get out of the cup, the deed deals with that. First thing is they give it to another club in their country that's eligible. And I mean, they've thought about this in the deed of gift back in well, that was in the 57 deed, and it's in the 1887, the third deed as well. So if RNZ goes bust, or they just have had a guts full of it and they want out of it, they say, excuse me, Royal Akarana Yacht Club over there on the other side of Auckland, which was the Challenger of Records Club, or some other club, take it over. Here it is. Here's the trophy. You become the trustee. We sign some papers. We file it with everybody, and they would become the trustee. And then maybe the Royal Akarana would say, "Hey, we're running the next event here in New Zealand. Guess what?
Yes,
where it should have been run in the first place."
Yes.
Barring that, if there's no other club in the country willing or able to take on the trusteeship, the deed also has a provision for that. It goes back to the previous trustee, which was whom? The Golden Gate Yacht Club. The Golden Gate Yacht Club. But that's not going to happen. Some other club in New Zealand would take it on happily. And they do a much better job of it, probably, than this lot.
I think it would be fun to see you go back to Golden Gate.
Well, I don't. I think,
you know who'd do it.
Golden Gate would have troubles at this point. America's Cup has deteriorated into a very sad show, reading from the bottom up.
Yep.
Most of the clown shows I have seen are pretty well organized in comparison. David James comment of the day.
Yes.
Hang on, Tom. This team just won the best team in world sailing. Well, the team is great. Bravo Zulu to them. They're the defender. They're fabulous. But the people running the defense for the RNZ is just croutonic. Alex Hayworth, the Brit, who's got very good connections inside the Cup in the UK, close to that Challenger of Record team, saying RNZ will be dissolved for trust purposes eventually.
Oh, it's too bad.
Fritz Mueller, this is so laughable. Rich backers don't get that way without counting beans. I mean, you look at what's going on. There's lawsuits here. They've tried to have similar salary caps in Formula One, or budget caps and
Yeah.
salary caps in basketball in the NBA here, and people just simply, you have in-kind deals where you say, hey, you come do this for me, and then I'll go buy something way over here having nothing to do with the America's Cup.
Yeah.
You do off-book deals. You
Yeah.
hire somebody's spouse, say, hey, you're going to skipper the boat for me, but I'm only going to pay you half or a tenth of what you're worth, but I'm going to hire your spouse to do something else. I mean, it's just, it's a Shiza show, Julia, not just a clown show.
I believe.
They should go back to our 6-point plan. They should, as I also said, they should get the former trustees together. In fact, the former trustees should get themselves together.
Yes.
New York, in the order, New York, Royal Perth, San Diego. Who was the trustee after that? Or RNZ, Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. And then who? SNG, Société Nautique Genève.
Yeah, right.
And Golden Gate.
And
then back to Auckland. They ought to get together and they ought to say, we're gonna fix this. The former trustees ought to get together. If
That's
Luna
a very
Rosa
good
is
idea.
arguing sorry, say that again. Say that again.
I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah, Alex Hayworth made the point to me in a text the other day. He said, yeah, value in kind. You just, instead of using cash, how are you going to account for VIK? Because you can pay somebody in VIK and not in cash. Does that count and of course it does ostensibly, but how do you ever enforce it? How do you police it?
Yeah.
If Luna Rosa is arguing the budget cap, might it have been an issue for Magic and for Alinghi too? Good question. Good point, Stingray, AKA Dogzilla Monster. Yeah, good point. Okay, so that is the worst trustee in the history, in a beautiful city, in a beautiful club, and lots of great people. Fabulous club, but a lousy trustee. In fact, more lousy is too polite a word. Julia, what happened on this day in history? The 7th of November, 1917. See if anybody in the chat knows that. Ed Worley's been, by the way, I don't know if Ed wants me to say this, but he and his business partner have successfully applied for and received a patent.
Oh, good.
To some impressive tech. Bravo Zulu to you, Ed, our super Fozy Ed Worley. He's meeting with his patent attorney. Oh, he says so. He's meeting with my patent attorney about my new software patent just issued. He said he was going to be a little late today.
Yeah.
Bravo Zulu, Ed.
Good.
Congratulations. Julia, what happened this day in 1917?
World War I.
Nope. That was World War I was earlier than that. Chris Exley and David James have it. The October Revolution got resolved in November. Bolshevik Revolution in Russia kicked off. And on this date, the Marxist revolutionary and Soviet leader Vladimir Lenin, the Soviet Secretary General Joseph Stalin, and the Marxist revolutionary Leon Trotsky took over the Russian government, became the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic. It's proclaimed on this date, 1917, after the October Revolution. The first Council of People's Commissars is formed with Lenin as leader, including Trotsky and, of course, Stalin, arguably the worst person, the worst butcher, along with Hitler and a few others in the history of the world. So that's what happened on this date. And Julia, 108 years later, we've got a Marxist mayor in New York.
Yeah.
Self-proclaimed. He calls himself a democratic socialist, but we all know that he's got Marxism and communism. He's an anti-capitalist.
Yes.
So interesting how what goes around comes around.
Yes.
Or what comes around goes around. How do you say that?
Comes around, goes around.
Is that it?
I think so.
Somebody sent me this. There are so many memes, Julia, coming out of this New York election on Tuesday with the new mayor. Socialism, you line up for bread. Capitalism, bread lines up for you. Alex Hayworth, Bolshevik Revolution seems to have come to New York. Fritz Mueller, it should have been over with the siege of Malta. Well, Fritz Mueller, you're down there in Miami. You're going to get I know property prices. In fact, I was talking with Claire Harrington a couple days ago, and the property prices in Connecticut. She's just outside in the state of New York,
Right.
I'd say, and the property prices there in Connecticut and Greenwich and Stamford and so on are, Rye, is still in New York. You got to get across the border and into Connecticut and get out of New York. Mom Donnie is a Democrat socialist, not a communist. Okay, Chris, actually, I will call him a Marxist, though. Socialism is great until you run out of... Who said that, Clayton Emily? Was that Margaret Thatcher said that, or not Hitler?
It was somebody like that, right?
Margaret Thatcher or Churchill or somebody. In any event, that's
yeah, it might have been.
that's what
Churchill.
happened on this. Countries with too large a disparity of income wealth are very unstable to no one's... I agree, Gordon. There's no question. There's no question. And, people voted in New York, and we'll see what the outcome is, how this all pans out. And that meme, courtesy of the Libertarian Catholic. The Libertarian Catholic, Julie, I don't know who that is.
Oh, well, I know lots of them.
Now, speaking of Sail GP, it's been a fair spell here since the last event. We've still got 3 weeks to the next one.
Oh, yeah.
But it's coming up. The final event is coming up. And here is a nice video from Emirates GBR about the various positions in the boat and sometimes how the numbers of people on the boat change and what happens therefore.
Oh, good.
Dylan Fletcher.
So we're going to talk about the different crew configurations that we sail in Sail GP, starting off with 6 POB. This is our, max righting moment setup from about 9 knots of wind. We run this setup. First off, we got Hannah, strategist at the back. She runs across the boat first. Then next, we're going to see Gooby run across the boat, the wing trimmer, and then we'll be dropping the board here. And then now Neil, G1, he runs across, start the turn, and then you'll have myself and Hutton who go across. And last but not least, we got Parko. 5 up. Interestingly, we're one of the teams that generally just drop the grinder. So Nico has to do all the work, basically grinding when we're in this 5-up configuration. But we really feel that having Hannah at the back of the boat with me focusing on strategy makes a real big difference for us. It's just hard work for Nico, but he's a strong lad. He gets on with it. Moving on to 4 POB. This is where Hannah has to step up from the strategist role at the back into that G2 position where she'll be grinding and trimming the jib as Nico's normal job. And then the difference being as well for myself, without the strategist, without Hannah at the back, there's a little bit more for me to do. I have to steer for longer on the exit of the maneuvers, basically, as you can see here, just because of Gooby's got to get himself sorted before I can cross. 3 POB, now we've got heaps going on. It's very difficult to sail the boat. I end up flying the boat initially for takeoff, and then Gooby has a difficult job because he can't really move the wing sheet very often because there's no one to pull it back in when Parko's flying the boat. So yeah, at this point, there's lots of sort of patting your head and rubbing your tummy, and just trying to sail the boat cleanly is really important in these conditions because it's very easy to make a mistake and fall off the foils. The config in Sail GP is the same as the rest of it. So Sail GP will tell us which jib we put up, how many people we sail with on the boat. We obviously decide the foils, everything.
Nice video.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Worley, absolutely fabulous video. Ted Ryman, I'd love Dylan and Co. to win the whole shebang.
Why not?
Why not? Bravo Zulu, nice video indeed. One hears Goobs going elsewhere and not where you think, all I can say, according to Dolly DeVille. By the way, Dolly is nice. I accused him of being my age the other day.
Yes.
He's only 62. He's a youngster.
Wow.
And he nonetheless did very well in the Windsurfer Masters Worlds. I think he was 5th or 6th and just in a huge fleet. Bravo Zulu.
That's great.
Dolly DeVille, who's, just taken up as a Fozy on and makes a lot of nice contributions to this show.
Mm-hmm.
Blake Middleton, that's a darn cool explanation video of crew responsibilities. Yes, indeed it is. Fritz Mueller, of vids like this, it's vids like this that bring the spectator closer to sailing. And he didn't use any half-assed, excuse my language, he used words that we all use.
Yes.
He doesn't have to make it up and dumb it down because people like to learn. They want to learn about our beloved sport. And you see sailors running around,
Yes.
trimming, doing things.
Always makes me nervous when they do that.
Alistair Murray agrees that Dolly is but a child. And it was an open worlds, Dolly points out, and he races with the young blokes as well as gets ranked as whatever in the Masters division. Okay, back to Sail GP. 3 weeks to the next event, the final event in Abu Dhabi. You probably, most of you, if not all of you, know that Dylan and co are on top in first place with a lot of points, 85 points. The Black Foils, Pete Burling and co on 82 points, and Tommy Slingsby, the Bonds Flying Ruse on 80 points. They are short of some kind of a disaster, Julia. You know, they get disqualified for being crotonic. They break their boat. They are shoe-ins to be in the final three in Abu Dhabi. Depending upon, of course, how the first 2 days go. But if you look at the rest of that table, your favorite team, Julia, is way down.
No, it's not.
76 points. They're 20 points behind, Julia. 19 points behind.
Oh, but
sorry, not 19, not behind. But they're the next group, the French are. Diego is 10 points behind. He has a small chance.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
And he could conceivably. He's only 4 points behind Tommy Slingsby, so he could move into Slingsby's slot. He could arguably move into the Black Foil slot, but isn't going to move into Emirates GBR slot, I don't think. And then after that, the French, forget it. They're down. They're the ones that are 24 points behind the leader.
Yeah.
And the USA, as Fritz Mueller points out, the USA is still -4 at the end of the season.
Aww.
Boy, there's a lot going on, Julia. One hears there's a lot going on in the Sail GP world. Teams, people moving around in this transfer, people trying to buy teams, people trying to get new teams set up. Stay tuned. So if Emirates GBR wins the series, Ed Worley says, will Sir Ben then have the millions to invest in his cup efforts? I doubt it. He's got some money to still spend to pay for the Emirates GBR team. He has some debt associated with that, or so one hears. David James thinks we should let the IOC come up with a scoring system. Winner is runner-up in the third to last race or something. I see the long-range weather forecast direct from World Sailing. Light air is possible with gusts that are potentiometers higher than average, but potentially more or less than they think might. Oh, Jody. He's wide awake and had his second or third coffee, maybe his first beer. It's 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah, that's a good start.
Of Australia. So that's what's going on. Yeah, you're right, Julia. Diego has a chance, but it's going to be tough to overcome those top three. But now, speaking of Jody, he has agreed to do play-by-play, and we do some kind of a voiceover. So I am planning on that. I haven't worked at all out whether we do it yet by Zoom or we do a stream. And if we do it a stream and we run this, but you have to bring your own video. You have to watch it on your own YouTube channel on one of your devices. I may run it up here on the big screen like we did for some of our other watch parties.
Yeah.
And Jody has agreed to do play-by-play, whether it's for both days, probably for both days. In Abu Dhabi Saturday and Sunday, but he's at the pub already. He's on his 5th beer.
Yeah, you like that?
So that's the good news. He's agreed to do that, and we'll see who else is going to fill out that commentator platform with us. But thank you, Jody, for agreeing to do that. If you're still on for that, we'll worry about how we're going to do that come the last week of November, weekend of the 2025 season. Will it be GBR, NZL, or Oz, or maybe outside chance that last year's winners, your team, Julia, last year's winners, the Spanish, will be there. Here is the video for the 29th and 30th event, 29th and 30th of this month. There's no audio with this, in Abu Dhabi. And it will be light, as Jody knows. It will be light. Gordon Smith wants to do the color. We'll see. Anybody else that, like Gordon, wants to be involved, let me know, and we'll get ourselves sorted out here. I think John wants to help as well, so maybe we'll have the same or similar group that we had for our Cup, our America's Cup watch parties. Gordon says, I'm just as incompetent as if you're more competent than the official commentator. You're certainly not as shouty. 29th and 30th of November in Abu Dhabi is the grand finale, and we will cover that one way or another. I think we're going to do live coverage, and thanks again to Jody for volunteering. I arm twisted him. I called him up and said, Jody, how about it? The last leg, Julia.
Okay.
Got a nice last leg, apropos the Great Lakes, and this from Clark Chapin. And it's a very, I thought, funny video by a young Brit whom I don't know. I don't even know his name. But have a look at this video, short one, about a Brit's impression of the United States and our Great Lakes.
All right, so apparently America has these things called Great Lakes. I thought that was just an overconfident way of saying you've got nice ponds. But no, these are lakes the size of countries. And you've got 5 of them. Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario. Now, they don't sound like lakes. They sound like retired gladiators. Coming soon, Lake Superior versus Lake Michigan. Battle of the Splash. And not only that, right? Lake Superior could fit the whole of the UK in it. What? So basically, you're telling me that America's got a pond, you could lose Birmingham in it and still have room for Wales. And apparently you call it an inland sea. Mate, if you have to call it a sea, it's no longer a lake. That is false advertising. If I ever tried to paddleboard across one, I'd need a passport halfway through. And Lake Michigan touches 4 states. 4. A British lake touches what? A few sheep and a fence? And get this, these lakes have beaches, like actual beaches with waves. I saw a video and thought, oh, that's a nice ocean, where's that? Meanwhile, in Britain, our lakes are called like Windermere or Buttermere. They sound like nice cream teas. America are naming theirs like they're flexing in the mirror. Lake Superior. Listen, it's not a competition, mate. And if it was, you've smashed us out the park. And then there's Lake Erie, which sounds like a ghost story. Oh yeah, the haunting of Lake Erie. Honestly, America is built different. You couldn't just have quite large puddles, could you? No, you had to build inland oceans. Next thing I know, I'll find out you've got rivers the size of the English Channel. Anyway, respect to you lot, because the Great Lakes are proper mental. And if you ever see a small British man with a few tea bags on a paddleboard, it's probably me. Send help or a canoe, preferably both.
That's funny.
Our lakes are like the name of a cream tea. Yeah, of course, we share 4 of those 5 lakes, not counting Lake St. Clair, which we also share with Canada, the boundary between the 2 countries. So it's North American Great Lakes, right? Ontario, Erie, Huron. How do you pronounce it? Huron and Superior are all shared. Michigan belongs to Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Illinois.
Yeah.
I don't think Indiana's on Lake Michigan, is it? In any event, I take his word that there are 4 states. I don't know who the guy is, but I thought he was funny. Thank you, Clark Chapin, for sending that along. USA, go big or go home, Ed Worley is saying. It was funny. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Julia.
Yes.
This I was going to use on Tuesday's show because we talked about it last Friday, or maybe we talked about it on Tuesday and then just never got to the meme. There is Andrew, formerly known as Prince. And Andrew McIrvin, another Andrew, a British Andrew, sent that.
Very
poor guy. And he's a sailor, you know, he was president of the Royal Thames Yacht Club, and I ferried him around, I don't know how many different events over the years. Did a cup presentation for him in the model room at the Royal Thames Yacht Club and just a handful of other people, especially for him back in the day. Indiana, no Minnesota. Okay, Minnesota's on Lake Superior. Thank you, Fog Machine. So Indiana's the 4th state, not Minnesota. Well, we got smart folks on here.
Yes.
Julia, as you know. Andrew McIrvin sent that in. Thank you very much. And Julia?
Sir?
I don't think any of these are finger wagged. This one maybe. And what makes you think my client was texting during your cosmetic surgery? Is that a finger wag?
Not if you turn your head.
Okay. Well, I was going to push the wag sound effects button, but you're not going to give it a wag. So, but this is apropos this whole thing about multitasking, which is going to be another one of the themes here in a moment. That from Clayton. Emily. It's Emily. That's a spell. Sorry, Clayton. That's Embly, of course. E-M-B-L-Y, and that is a spell check I didn't catch. It's me or the sailboat. If you change your mind, I'll be at the boat. That's from Dolly Davola.
Yes.
And by the way, Dolly said he knows a commentator. And, you know, he does the commentating for the Sydney Harbor 18s.
Oh, yes.
For the 18-footer league.
Yes.
So we ought to get him involved in this. I'll leave it to Dolly and to Jody to talk about that
Yeah.
and see, because we're obviously going to do this remotely by Zoom.
Yeah.
The commentary. I have to run 2 different Zooms up here, but we will. Julia,
Yes, sir.
if you change your mind, I'll be on the boat. Dolly DeVoe.
Just in case.
This is some advice from Dolly. He sent this. Marry a girl who says things like, I'm proud of you. I appreciate you. 40 feet seems completely reasonable for a family boat. See, they're all clean.
Yes.
And there's no drinking ones either. But speaking of multitasking, at my age, I'm good at multitasking. I can listen, ignore, and forget all at once.
That's
and
good.
you know what? That's also from Clayton Emily. Sorry, Clayton. We got to give Clayton some love here now that I've
Yes.
screwed up his name. And we got to get some of our new bottle of bourbon cream,
my-
Julia.
yeah.
Here, let me have your cup and we'll pour you some so you can have a little afterglow now that we're to the end of the show. Ooh, that's a pretty good pour.
Yes.
Clayton Emily, we're going to call him Emily from now on. He's got a new nickname. We have Magnus the Magnificent. We have Mr. Doctor. And we got Emily.
And Emily.
Thanks to the spell check.
Mm.
Julia,
Sir.
finally, we have this from Blake Middleton. And I don't know if you can say that about us today, but we did get through the show without, knock on wood, I'll probably lose it now, without losing the internet. 881 shows, Julia. Only 3 losses the internet. That gets us to the finish line for today's show. And you like to say,
Please don't deny those people who would like to listen to us the chance and make it easy for them.
like, follow, and share, because it helps with the algorithm too, both for you. We're getting a lot of views.
Yes.
K-Ard show, which is only now, as I said at the top of the show,
Yeah.
we had it's approaching 3,000 views.
Uh-huh.
And usually it takes a while.
Yep.
Do you know whose show was really popular on YouTube? A lot of people. Maybe it's because Gladwell put the link up. Gladwell's show was really popular.
Yeah.
On the YouTube. We're not talking about thousands of views on YouTube, but we get many more on Facebook, and we appreciate it. And we also want you to know that comments, if you're watching in replay, you can nonetheless comment. We leave comments open. We're one of the few shows, live or otherwise, that does, because we trust everybody to not be cretonic, to be a lady or a gentleman. Sailing Illustrated is media supported by the viewers, by you all.
Yes.
And we appreciate your support via patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. And Julie is telling me we now have to get a Starlink, a parallel internet system, so that if our cable system goes down, we can have automatic cutover to Starlink and not miss a beat.
Correct.
Well, Julia, we got to find the money to do that, because that won't be simple. I mean, the software and the hardware to do that, it takes a little bit of work, but maybe we can. Thank you, all of you who do support us with a few bucks a month. We appreciate all of you in all of your contributions. We also appreciate and say thank you to those who give us for each of these shows, audio, video, and images, including all of these people today. Julia, last thoughts.
I was just thinking about Starlink. I don't know because we'd be rebroadcasting, so I don't know how that.
No, it's just an internet connection, just like the cable.
Yeah.
And they're parallel. It's not rebroadcasting. It's just parallel. So you got 2 internet connections coming in here to Studio B, and back here on the rack in the back, I would do some software, and we'd do a link up so that if one cut out, it would automatically cut over to the other.
Yes.
We'd still use the cable. We use the hardwired because that would be more reliable. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great weekend, Julia. Wherever in the world you or anyone else is, are you traveling this weekend, or are you staying home?
No.
Thanks for letting us share some time with you this afternoon or evening or your morning down under. We'll see you on Tuesday, same time, same channel. In the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.